As we head into Monza this race weekend, multiple players are going to be affected by grid penalties, which could affect the outcome of this race dramatically. We have word that Porsche and Red Bull Racing's potential partnership that was supposed to happen in a couple of years will not be coming to fruition as it falls apart. And we have Alpine considering 14 drivers for their seat for 2023. Let's get right into it. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Formula One Digest. Tyson DeSilva here, and I am so excited to be talking about this race weekend. It is Monza. It is the Temple of Speed, and it's looking very good for Ferrari this weekend, as we have received word that Hamilton, Verstappen, Perez, Sainz, and Tsunoda, along with a couple other drivers, are going to be receiving grid penalties for this weekend's race due to engine changes and various changes to their cars. We have Hamilton, who will be starting at the back of the grid, having taken every single engine component bar, having to take a new engine component, an energy store. We have Red Bull's Verstappen and Perez, who will be dropping 5 and 10 places respectively. Verstappen is taking his 5th internal combustion engine of the season, and Perez is taking his 4th. And then we have Carlos Sainz, who has exceeded his allocation of gearbox components, plus energy store and control electronics and MG UK, and will therefore start from the back of the grid with Lewis Hamilton. What does this do for the race? It does a lot. If you are a fantasy player for F1, this might be the weekend to bet on Charles Leclerc all in, because he has such a great chance to win this race, as essentially most of his title rivals are going to be starting behind him. We have a potential Max Verstappen podium as well. He has not won a race, or he has not been on the podium at Monza, but despite only a 5-place grid drop, it is hard to bet against Max to get a podium finish in this race unless something drastic does happen. And we have Checo, who is tied with Charles right now, who will be dropping 10 places. So even if he finishes at a decent spot, he will still be towards the back end of the grid. It's going to be really interesting to see what strategies that Red Bull will come up with in order to combat Charles having the track advantage. And of course, it'll be interesting to see how Ferrari do at their home turf. Of course, they haven't been doing extremely well in their strategies. And now that they have one driver at the front and one driver essentially starting at the back, it's going to be really interesting to see how they can strategize to get both their drivers in positions to win the race and get maximum points, as Mercedes is also climbing up the ladder and is gaining on them for second place in the constructors. Of course, what this does for Hamilton's race is essentially could count him out for a podium. Probably going to finish in the top 10 because of that Mercedes speed, and it's been looking rather strong. But unless a lot of things go his way, I don't know if we're looking at a race win or a podium. George Russell will definitely be having a good shot at a win or a podium for this weekend, as I'm assuming he will probably be on the front row or close to the front row to battle with Charles. Some other guys to look out for will definitely be guys like Lando Norris, potentially Daniel Ricciardo. He did win this race last year and might be looking to bring the magic back. And then maybe some of the Alpine guys can definitely be really high up on the leaderboards at the start of the race. And so it's going to be really exciting to watch what happens this weekend at Monza, and I am going to assume it's going to be a very high drama. Speaking of drama, as many of you may not know, Porsche and Red Bull were meant to have a partnership in 2026 when the new regulations were coming into play. And there were rumors that the relationship was kind of on the fence, as they were hitting moot points in a lot of their negotiations. And now it looks as though that partnership has dissolved and there will be no partnership for 2026. But Porsche is still very attracted to the idea of joining Formula One. They are a German manufacturer, and it's going to be really interesting to see because they are meant to have teams with Audi in the near future, and it's going to be really interesting to see who they will also supply their engine to, because it was initially supposed to be Red Bull, but it looks as though we will not be getting that unless something else changes. What does this mean for Red Bull, though, and the future of their engine? Right now, they're powered by their own powertrains, the Red Bull Racing powertrains. They are also the supplier for their sister team, AlphaTauri. My assumption right now, as nothing is quite clear, is that they will continue to be Red Bull powertrains until they can maybe get another power unit in their car, or they just continue to develop one. Maybe Honda will come back eventually because they seem to be coming in and out of the sport. So we will definitely see what happens to Porsche. This will be really interesting to see in the long run what this does for Max Verstappen's career, as he will be looking to be one of the greatest Red Bull racing drivers in their history. And moving on to the last piece of news that I have for you guys today. As many of you guys know, we've been following the Alpine driver seat for 2023 very closely, and a recent report from Sky Sports has released that Alpine is considering close to 14 drivers for their seat in F1. But Nico Rosberg has hailed Pierre Gasly as the perfect choice for them in 2023. Of course, there are tons of potential drivers that are just waiting to get their shot to race at Red Bull. We've talked about Pierre Gasly, Mick Schumacher. There's Daniel Ricciardo. There are a bunch of teams. There are a bunch of drivers that could go to Alpine. But according to Nico Rosberg, Pierre Gasly is the perfect choice because that lineup would be perfect for them. And despite the fact that Alpine wants Gasly to fill the 2023 seat, his potential move there is dependent on Red Bull getting Colton Herta from for their AlphaTauri team. We don't know what's happening with that right now. We are going to continue to follow it very closely as more news breaks out. It's going to be really interesting to see what happens because he is a big name right now in F1, as he is a IndyCar champion and a really exciting driver for the future. And speaking of exciting drivers and free seats, we also have news that Nico Hulkenberg is actually a favorite to get the Haas seat in 2023 should Mick Schumacher not sign with the team. Where does Mick Schumacher go? We are not quite sure. This is according to GP Blog. We are still following news on this one. But right now it looks as though that if Mick Schumacher were to choose not to go back to Haas, which is a Ferrari-powered team, he also cut his ties with Ferrari a little while ago, he could end up with Alpine or potentially AlphaTauri, but it looks as though Nico Hulkenberg, after 3 seasons of not being in F1, might be getting a seat after a 3-year wait. It'll be really exciting to see him back with the team. Of course, this questions what could happen to Daniel Ricciardo because Haas was supposed to also be a name that he could go to. But and it looks as though Williams might be getting Nick De Vries next season. This is not confirmed news. We are just completely assuming because there has been a lot of rumors about it. But we are going to continue to follow all this and more as the season progresses. But for now, guys, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. And we will see you guys in the next one.